Hi, Dr. Yass here. In this video, I'm going to talk about an issue that I think is quite scary to people when it occurs, and that is the idea that they're sleeping and all of a sudden they're awoken by whatever pain they're experiencing. And oftentimes, this pain can be fairly severe, and the shockingness of experiencing it from being awoken is a pretty scary concept. And I think that that facet of it, the suddenness of it, and the not knowing it's coming, leads people to think that the cause of the symptom must be quite severe and ultimately allows people to be sucked into the medical system where they'll typically find some structural variation. And because the words that he used are so extreme, kind of gives you justification. Well, the scary symptom happened because the scary cause was identified, and it's just clear nonsense. Actually, the fact that the symptom is greatest at night or when you first wake up is much greater, more the result of a muscular cause than it is a structural cause. Remember this concept. If it is a structural cause, arthritis or herniated disc or stenosis, these are structures that exist. So if in fact the symptom is coming from the structure due to some variation, you would expect, because the variation is continuous, that the symptom should be continuous. So you should have continuous symptom of roughly about the same intensity. Well, for these type of people, the average person, most people, when they talk about their symptoms being worse at night, it wasn't there when they went to bed. It was certainly minimal, but it's as they're sleeping, they're awoken by this greatly intensified symptom, or they wake up in the morning with this greatly intensified symptom. So the symptom has changed dramatically. That in itself should tell you it's probably not structural. It's more apt to be muscle. So when I say, oh, when you have this intense symptom that wakes you up, it's muscle, the person always comes back to me with, what are you talking about? I wasn't using my muscles. In fact, I was sleeping. So how could you tell me that the symptom that woke me up while I'm sleeping is from a muscle? Here's the understanding that you need to have, and hopefully you will take solace in this understanding, and it will even help you have a little guidance into some techniques you could use before you go to bed to stop this from happening and being awoken by your pain. So let's just talk about this idea of when muscle is contracting. So throughout your day, you're doing things, you're moving, you're functional, and you're using your muscles. And the byproduct of muscular contraction, any form of muscular contraction, is lactic acid. So let's say that you were using a muscle and the force requirement of your activity was greater than the force output of the muscle. The muscle strains and elicits pain. Now, that intensity of pain will be greatly diminished by the fact that the muscle is contracting to perform activity or attempting to perform your activity. And as a result, you have this byproduct of lactic acid. Now, lactic acid coming into the body can create an acidic movement of the pH of blood to the acidic side. And the body can't allow that to happen because you just have this small area of pH that you can change as you become more acidic in your pH of your blood. So what the body's going to do, if you have strained this muscle and it's become inefficient because it doesn't have the force output, so it's producing a higher level of lactic acid, is the body has now got to pump blood into that area to grab the lactic acid and bring it back to the liver and convert it out of lactic acid, thereby bringing down the pH level of the blood from acidic to a more neutral position where it should be. Well, in having this large amount of blood entering the muscle, blood is warm. And although the muscle strain, because you have this warm fluid in the area, it allows the muscle to remain distensible. It doesn't really shorten to its natural desired level after it strains. So that's why the average person will describe the fact that although they've recognized that pain is increased by doing the activity, it's either initiated or increased by the activity. They don't really necessarily feel the pain at the time of the activity. It's usually at night. Typically, by the time they've gone to bed, they're either woken up or first thing in the morning when they get up, they sense their extreme pain. So, what's different? Why is the pain worst at night or first thing in the morning when you have a muscular cause? Because, as I've mentioned, during your day, as long as you're active, lactic acid is building up, strained muscles are efficient, so they're building more and more lactic acid. More and more blood is having to be pumped into the area to get rid of the lactic acid, to control the acidic nature of pH of the blood. And so the muscles are always being sustained at a more normal length, that they're remaining distensible. They're not shortening into that contractile state because of the strain. At night, you're doing nothing. You finally lay down. No activity, no lactic acid development. You now do not need this excessive blood being pushed into the area. Therefore, warmth is not being drawn into the area. As a result, the strained muscle, which has this innate contractile force that comes from the straining, actually has the opportunity to develop, and the muscle shortens. Well, pain receptors run along the length of the muscle fiber. So when the muscle strains and contracts and shortens, it pulls the fiber together, concentrating the pain receptors, thereby inciting pain. So that's why at night or first thing in the morning, the person has that painful experience. Now, once you've gotten to the morning, the average person will agree that if they get into a hot shower, they have to crawl there, however they get there. Once they get to the hot shower, right, or put a hot pack on, the symptom diminishes. Why? The hot pack now draws blood to the area, which then causes the tissue to become distensible, basically deconcentrating the pain receptors, and it makes the pain go away. And then you're on your cycle again for that day. You don't really feel it during the activity, but again, at night or when you lay down, or if you sit on a recliner for some period of time, whatever time when you're not doing activity, that's when that muscle has the chance to shorten. You concentrate the pain receptors because the muscle shortens and it elicits pain. So, if we have that understanding, you could do a couple of things and see if it helps you. And if it helps you, it will reaffirm what I'm telling you is correct, that in fact, the cause of your pain at night that's waking you up is muscular. And now you just have to go on the process of figuring out which muscles they are, strengthen the appropriate muscles, stop them from straining, and it stops you from having pain, right? So if you're having back pain or shoulder pain or something of that nature, why don't you try applying a hot pack, a hydroculator, or a high pack, and see if you could do that just before you go to bed, and see if you're able to go through the night without having the pain wake you up. There are these icy hot and Tiger Balm patches, right? And they have what's the two? There's two things: menthol and something else, and those draw heat into the area. So you could apply one of those patches, not lidocaine patch, but either an icy hot or Tiger Balm, which has the menthol or the other thing that's in there that creates heat. So that's another way of doing it. So by trying to apply heat into the area, that should draw blood into the area and again, keep the tissue distensible, at least while you're sleeping, and therefore prevent the concentration of the pain receptors and eliciting the pain that wakes you up, right? So you can try those kind of things. Obviously, if necessary, you could try and get into a hot shower. It sucks, but if you get up at night and you just find you can't sleep, try and get into a hot shower and just allow yourself to apply the water in the area where you're having the pain. That should, again, draw heat into the area, bring blood, cause the tissue to become more distensible, deconcentrate the pain receptors, and it should diminish your pain. But at least now, for the first time, you have confidence that this thing that's waking you up at night is not so scary. And it doesn't mean you're having a heart attack or you have a tumor or something like that. It just is muscle. And it reinforces that what you should do is get the Yass method, get a proper evaluation either in person in Jacksonville, Florida, or by Zoom with the Yass method Zoom session that you could get from the website livewithoutpains.com, and establish which muscles are creating the symptoms, do the appropriate strengthening, use progressive resistance, and within a short period of time, you'll be pain-free, fully functional, and you won't have this situation arising where you're being awoken by your pain. So hopefully this is comforting news to people. This will help answer the big question that most people have, which is, why is my pain at night when I'm sleeping when I don't seem to be doing anything? That's the thing that confuses people and allows their minds to wander into thinking that things are much more serious than what they are. Actually, if you're being awoken at night by pain, the highest probability is that it's muscle. And if you apply heat in the area and you see the symptoms basically resolve, it just reinforced that point. Okay? So hopefully this gives you a lot of comfort and satisfaction in knowing that there's an answer. As I've always described, there's always an answer to every question. So if you like this video, if you find it helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you like my YouTube channel, Dr. Mitchell Yass, please subscribe to get notifications when new videos are added or when I'm live on YouTube. If you would like to contact me about your issue, you could do so at drmitch@mitchellyass.com. Or if you would like, again, to make a Yass Method Zoom session, you could do so by clicking on the website, livewithoutpains.com/sessions. You'll learn how the system sessions work and what to expect. And when you're ready, you can pick a day and time that's most comfortable for you. So for now, this is Dr. Mitchell Yass, wishing you a pain-free, fully functional life. Bye-bye for now.